In the previous video, we studied about endotrophic mycorrhiza with septate fungi. Now we will study about endotrophic mycorrhiza with aseptate fungi. The vascular herbascular VA type of mycorrhiza is the most common among all mycorrhiza. These are ubiquitous and occur in all groups of plants, means that it is most common mycorrhiza in the plants, and it is also found in all groups of plants. All groups of plants means that in bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm and angiosperm. Large number of agricultural crops from VA type mycorrhiza, that is tomato, peas, apple, sugarcane, coffee, coca, tea, rubber tree, etc. Large number of agriculture crops have these type of VA type of mycorrhiza. The plants which consist this type of mycorrhiza is tomato, peas, apples, etc. It also holds the economic importance. An important feature of VA mycorrhiza is the formation by the fungus of two characteristics organ in the root cortex. Means that the important feature of the VA mycorrhiza is the formation of fungus. Fungus is forming, but the formation of fungus is from two characteristics organ in the root cortex. In root cortex, it is forming by the two specific characteristics organ. First one is arbesculus, dichotomously branched bush-like hosteria, and vesicles formed intra and intercellularly. These are the two characteristics from which these type of aseptate mycorrhiza of the endotrophic mycorrhiza is forming. Some external hyphae extend into the soil up to a distance of about 1 centimeter around the roots. Means that some external hyphae, means that these types of hyphae is forming outside of the root cortex and come in contact of soil up to 1 centimeter of the hypha. Sometimes these external hypha grow closely pressed to the root surface, but they never form a mantle. The roots do not show any morphological changes. Means that if the formation of these mycorrhiza or all these arbescules and vesicle is forming, the root does not show any morphological change. This diagram shows TS of vesicular herbascular mycorrhiza. A shows arbescules. These are arbescules. AP apressorium. PH permanent hypha. This one is apressorium AP, and PH permanent hypha. This one is permanent hypha. SLH short-lived hypha. This one is short-lived hypha. V vesicle. These are formation is vesicle. The external hypha. These are characteristically dimorphic and are composed of thick-walled or permanent hypha. Second is thin-walled or short-lived hypha, which arises as lateral branches of the former. The external hypha which is coming out of the root cortex, that is either made up of thick-walled or permanent hypha or thin-walled or short-lived hypha, which arises from the lateral branches, which will arise from the lateral branch of the cortex. The external hyphae bears various kinds of spores and vesicles in the soil. The hyphae from apressorium at the site of penetration of the root. The fungus invades the cortex but never encroaches upon the endodermis, stele or meristem. Means that the external hyphae which bear various kinds of spores and vesicles in the soil, The hyphae from aprosoria at the site of penetration of the root means that the aprosoria is the site of the penetration of the root. The fungus invade the cortex. The fungus enters the or invades the cortex, but it cannot reach up to the endodermis, stele, or the meristem. It will remain in the cortex area only. Vesicles. These are spherical or oval, thick-walled structures formed terminally in the intercellular space and occasionally in the cortical cells. These contain fat granules and serves as storage organ. Means that these vesicles serve the cell as a storage organ. In old mycorrhiza root, the vesicles are produced in enormous numbers which completely obliterate the cortex cells. The root in extreme cases may also get deformed. The vesicles are produced in large number or large quantity in the older mycorrhiza roots, which later cause the roots with extreme damage and also gets deformed. Arbesculus. Shortly after infection, the hyphae form arbesculus. After the infection, after the roots get deformed, the hyphae forms arbescular. The highly branched dichotomously bush-like hosteria in the cortical cell. In the cortical cell, it forms the arbescular, which appears like a bush-like hosteria. These are later digested by the host cell. Later, it is digested by the host cell. First, the tip are eroded, and soon the entire arbescular is degraded and digested. The bush-like hosteria later gets eroded or digested by the cell. It is start eroding by the tip, and then the entire arbescular is degraded and digested by the cell of the cortex. The host nucleus responds to the formation of arbesculus by swelling in size. Means that if the arbesculi is getting eroded or getting digested, we can see in the change in the uh, in the cell of the cortex by swelling in size. The size of the cell will get swollen. The host nucleus responds to the formation of arbesculus by swelling in size with degrading of the arbesculus. The formation takes place and the degrading of the arbesculus also takes place, and in these phase we can see the swelling in the size of the root cortex.